Hello again. In lesson 1, we had seen how to prepare the virtual environment where we were going to install our RedHat Linux. Now in this lesson, in lesson 2, we want to now install the actual RedHat Enterprise Linux. In lesson 1, we had seen how to create the disk. We had also seen how to link it to a bootable DVD or an ISO image, and how to start the boot process. So we are going to proceed from there and boot our RedHat Enterprise Linux. Okay, so once you get your boot screen, there you can see that we have various options. So the first option is the one we'll select, which is to install. So it is going to load your Linux. Okay, so use the tab key to skip the disk. We don't want to test it, though in a production environment, before you start, it is better to test the disk to see if it has any bad sectors that might stop it from installation. So we're going to skip the testing of the disk and proceed with our installation. So you can see there that we are installing the RedHat Enterprise Linux for x86 64. But if you don't have a 64-bit machine, you can also use a 32-bit version. Okay, so remember RedHat is compatible with the CentOS. So if you don't have RedHat, you can also follow along with the CentOS. Okay, so we are going to use the language that we're going to use for the installation is English. So select English or the language that you're comfortable with. So I'm going to use the US English as the keyboard. So I click next. So you can either use basic storage or specialized storage if you are using maybe a Sun to boot. So for now, since I'm not using any Sun, I'm going to use basic storage device. But if I was to boot from my Sun device, I will have selected specialized storage device. So you can see that you can use fiber channel, iSCSI, ZFCP, etc. Now this screen, you only see it because we are using VirtualBox and we had created a disk in a VirtualBox. But in a real server, you're not going to see this. Okay, so it's just telling me to format, so I'm just going to format it and discard all the data. Now for my host name, I'm going to say core banking 1. So because this server is going to hold my core banking, so I'm going to say corebanking.hq.com as my host name. Then I'll say next. Then I'm going to select my time zone. So since I'm in Africa, Nairobi, I select Nairobi, Africa. Then I say next. Then I put my root password. Okay, so it's good to remember this root password. Though if you forget it, there is a way of bypassing root if you have not put any grab password. But if you put a grab password, it will be a problem. Okay, so what type of installation would you like? Replace existing, shrink current system, use free space, or create a custom layout. So since we are learning, let's select create custom layout so that we can manually see how to modify all the partitions. Okay, so I'm going to create a custom layout and then I say next. Okay, so you can see that the disk that we had created is 20 GB. Remember in Linux, the disks have the name SD. It starts with the name SD, and then the first one will be SDA. If you had another disk, it will become SDB. So if you have another one, SDC, like that. So click on the free space in SDA1, in SDA I mean, and then select create partition. So we are going to create a standard partition. So you can see there that you can also create a software RAID or a logical volume manager or even a logical volume, physical volume. So create standard partition, click on create. So we have various mount points that we can create. Okay, so the first mount point we are going to create is slash. So any other mount point that have not been created will be put here. So you can just give it a size of 10 GB and then it will be fixed size. So you say okay. Then again click on the free space, then say create, again standard partition. So apart from slash, we want to create other mount point slash home. Slash home is going to contain all the home directories of the users that we are going to create. So mount point / home, file system is ext4, and then you give it a size in MB. So we're just going to give it 2 GB because it will not contain a lot of data. You only contain configuration files. Then again we need another partition, so click on free. Then the mount point now that we need to create is /var. So /var contains things like logs, system logs, mail, anything that keeps changing. So we put it in /var. So we just give it 4 GB, and then once we created /var, again it's ext4. Let's continue creating another partition. So again standard partition. So the mount point now we can create /opt. So /opt will contain any optional software that you want to install. So again the file system is ext4. Let's give it a size of 2 GB, 2.5 GB. So the remaining space now we can give to swap. Swap is your virtual memory. Okay, so swap will be a virtual memory. So now swap does not have a mount point, so you go directly to file system and select swap, and since it's the last partition that you are creating, just fill to maximum allowable size. So now that's your layout. You have your /var /opt, and then you have /home, and then you have your swap memory. Okay, so click on next. So it's telling you that the following devices have been selected to be formatted, destroying all data. So click on format. So once you do that, you write changes to disk. You can see that it's inside SDA. Inside SDA, it has created the various partitions. So the first one is SDA1, then SDA2, etc. Now next we need to use a bootloader password. As I said, if you don't put a bootloader password, somebody can bypass your system, okay, during the boot process. So as long as he has the physical access to the server, he can bypass if you don't have a bootloader password. So just click on next. Okay, so what kind of server do you want to install? A basic, database server, web server? So let's just customize so that we do it manually and understand the options. So under base system, let's select under base system, let's select the backup client. Let's select base. Let's select compatibility, internet tools, debugging tools. We don't need dial-up networking. Let's select FCO. So this for your storage. Let's select InfiniBand. We don't need Java. Let's select legacy, mainframe access, networking tools, PAL support, performance tools. Let's select printing. We don't need Ruby. Scientific support, security tools. If you're going to use smart card for your authentication PC, you can select it, but we don't need it. So storage availability tools and iSCSI storage client. Now for the servers, we don't need all these servers because we're not creating NFS server, we're not creating network storage server. So the only thing we need here is system administration tools. And then for the web services, we don't need any of that. Then databases, since we are going to install Oracle, we don't need any of those databases. System management, we can select all of them. Then virtualization, if you are going to create a virtualization server, you will have selected them, but we don't need them because we are installing Oracle. So for the desktops, the first one is the GNOME desktop environment. So just select all of them except KDE. We don't need KDE desktop environment because we're going to use GNOME. So select legacy X window, remote desktop, and distributor system. Under application, just select all of them. Then for development, we can select all of them except for Eclipse. We don't need Eclipse because we're not going to be developing. And then the language, that depends on your country. So I list the default one, which is English. So click on next. So it will check dependencies on all the applications that I have selected, and then it's going to automatically install any dependencies that it needs. Alright, so that's it. Once you have selected the software, you have done your partitioning correctly, Linux will start the installation process. This will take around 30 minutes depending on the speed of your disk and the speed of your server and your optical drive. Alright, so we'll just skip until it has finished the installation process, then we'll continue from there. So it will load the software, start installing the packages, and then lastly it will install your bootloader, and we will be done. So now installation is done, and as I've said, the last thing here is to install the bootloader. So remember, the bootloader is what you need to load your kernel. So if you don't have a bootloader, you're not going to be able to load your operating system once the installation has been completed. Okay, so it will going to install your bootloader, and then it's going to tell you congratulations, your RedHat Enterprise Linux installation is complete. So remove the CD and then reboot your virtual machine. So if you had attached an ISO image, you remove the ISO image, then restart your system. So the system is going to start. It's telling you there RedHat Linux Server 6.6. So that's the version that we have installed. Okay, so it will start all the services that you had selected during the installation phase. For example, if you had selected mail, it's going to start mail service. So on the welcome screen, just say next, then accept your license information. So for the software updates, just say no, I prefer to register at a later time, then select register later. Okay, and then click on forward. Now we need a normal user that we'll use to log into the system instead of using root. So let's create a user called Dba User, a full name Dba User. Give it any password that you like. So this is the user that I will be using to log into the system before we create our Oracle user. So click on forward. Okay, so if you need to change your time, you can change it, but otherwise, if everything is okay, just say forward. No, now if you want to enable kdump, you can enable it, but in my virtual machine I don't have enough memory for kdump, so I'll just ignore and finish my installation. So everything is finished. I can now log in as Dba User. So I just select Dba User. And then I put my password and I log in. Click on login. So the installation is finished. So in the next video, we will see how to do our configuration. So once you install your RedHat Linux, there are several things that you need to configure first before you can install Oracle. So just shut it down, and then we move to the next video, where now you will learn how to configure things like kernel parameters. You will learn how to install packages that are needed by Oracle. You will learn how to create the Oracle user, how to create the DBA group, how to create the OInstall group, and various other things that you need. So if you have any question, you can always get us at ogutu.org, or send us an email at info@ogutu.org. Then we can help you with your question. Thank you.